Did I ever tell you about the time I was with the band Papa Roach, Mike? You know that band? It starts off like this. I guess this is a way to say it. It's easy to make fun of people doing crummy jobs. You know, like people need work. They do something that maybe is beneath them. Easiest thing in the world is to make fun of, to kind of zing people for the fact they're doing something that's a little beneath their station. But, you know, you got to put food on the table in life. This just goes for the slobs. Snobs need not apply on this one. The snobs don't have to worry about stuff like that. And you know, before I had my job, my current job, over at the Consolidated Cardboard, I was doing a lot of freelance writing, and I would write anything I could get my hands on, any job I could get, any assignment, I took it. For like 4 years, I was doing this, and I honestly don't think I said no to a job once in those 4 years. I'm talking about magazine work, commercials, anything. Anything I could write, yes, I'll do it. People would say, hey, would you write? I would say yes. And then now tell me what it is. I will write it. So I was writing for this basketball magazine. And they call me, they say, hey, will you go do this job? And again, like I just said, I said yes. Now tell me what it is. So here's what the job was. They wanted an article written on an event that was going to take place over at Chelsea Piers. Jim Beam, you know Jim Beam? The alcohol? They were sponsoring. They had sponsored a contest where the winner of the contest, and I'm not making this up, the winner of this contest got to bring 3 of his or her friends to New York City to play basketball against Papa Roach. I am not lying. I know this sounds insane. This is as true as can be. I did this. This is kind of right. Papa Roach, at that point, they had put out their big album, and they had yet to put out the one after that bombed, that no one wanted. Now, I know you're probably asking yourself right now, Tom, you just said the contest was the winner and 3 of their friends playing the quartet that is Papa Roach. There's only 4 guys in Papa Roach, you know, Jacoby Shaddix, Jeremy Horton, Tobin Esperance, and Tony Palermo. Although at that point I think Dave Buckner was their drummer. But neither here nor there. That's 4 guys. Basketball is 5-on-5. And you're right to say that. Basketball is 5-on-5. So this is what the brain trust at Jim Beam did. They brought in 2 Harlem Globetrotters to fill out the team. 1 Harlem Globetrotter on each team. So I show up at these Chelsea Piers outdoor courts. I think it was the spring. It was still not warm out yet. Still kind of chilly, if I remember correctly. And it slowly dawns on me that I am the only person even remotely resembling the press at this thing. I'm the only one. And these Jim Beam flacks, the press people for Jim Beam, find me. They're all over me. Oh, it's a very exciting event. Oh, it's very great. The guys from Papa Roach are just setting up over there, just changing over there into their Jim Beam basketball outfits. I'm watching these guys in Papa Roach changing into these like basketball jerseys, which only made them look so dumpy. These fat guys with tattoos, all short. Guys in I don't think anybody was over 5'4" in Papa Roach. They were all kind of built like fire hydrants, putting on these basketball tops that say, these sleeveless basketball tops that say Jim Beam on the back. Their tattooed arms coming out, their guts sticking out. So I look over there. The fatzos in Papa Roach. This is before the game starts. They're loading up on shrimp, if I remember correctly. Because there's food everywhere at this thing. There's food, and of course, Jim Beam. And what goes better than seafood and hard liquor before you go play full court basketball? I can't think of anything. Sounds like a perfect plan. Let's all get hammered and eat seafood that's sitting out in the sun, and then go run and play a sport none of us are any good at. Then I see the contest winner and his 3 friends, and it's like this is not exactly Michael Phelps looking at. These are not exactly Olympic athletes. They're there. It was like this guy had himself and his wife was the first person he picked, and 2 of his buddies. So they're all there. So it's the 4 fatzos from Papa Roach. These 4 people from the Midwest who were not exactly chiseled, and these 2 guys from the Harlem Globetrotters who looked like they wanted to jump into the Hudson and drown. So then it's game time. Everybody's wearing their awesome Jim Beam basketball jerseys. They're out on the floor. And at this point, I'm completely embarrassed. I'm the only press person. And they're all looking at me as if this is going to be on the front page of the New York Times. Jim Beam event. That's the other thing. They kept the Jim Beam person kept saying, you're going to get Jim Beam into the article, of course, right? It's for Jim Beam. You mentioned that it was a Jim Beam event. Jim Beam. Jim Beam, Jim Beam, Jim Beam. This is a kid's basketball magazine. I'm going there knowing, right from the get-go, Jim Beam is not going to be within 100 feet of this article. The name Jim Beam is not going to be in this article in any way, shape, or form. Somebody should have told these Jim Beam people. But they're all asking me about like brand coverage and all this stuff. It's insane. So the game starts. And now it's readily apparent that no one on the floor, except for the 2 Harlem Globetrotters, have any idea how to play basketball. And it's a game they playing to 15. Might as well have been playing at 1,500. Nobody could make a basket. And at a point, you look around, all the Jim Beam people, they don't want to be there either. No one wants to be here. Everyone at this event wishes they were somewhere else. The guys in Papa Roach don't want to be there. These contest winners would rather be checking New York out, not actually forced to play basketball. These 2 guys in the Harlem Globetrotters definitely don't want to be there. None of the press people want it. This was a Sunday. No one wants to be here. But we're all here watching these people struggle to score 15 points. And at a point, I think everybody was just wishing that these Harlem Globetrotter guys would just start scoring. But these guys are passing the ball. They're trying to make it inclusive. Like, yeah, they'll take the ball. They'll take the ball. They'll pass it. They're passing it to this guy who tries to put up a layup and misses the entire backboard. Oh, just start scoring, Harlem Globetrotters. Please end this. Watching these tubs in Papa Roach trying to score. These guys have no interest in basketball. And finally, this game ends. Finally, it ends. And now, I got to go interview the guys from Papa Roach, who are soaking wet with sweat from having done the most strenuous physical activity they've ever done in their lives, running back and forth on a basketball court. I've got to go interview these guys, who I can't stand also. Some of the worst music I've ever heard in my life. So I go up to the one guy. Hey, I'm here doing an article on this, and I'm embarrassed now. Because what am I wearing? Oh, around my neck, I'm wearing a laminate. Like Jim Beam. There was no one trying to sneak into this thing. Wasn't like, let's see your lammy. You got clearance? No one wanted to get in. People wanted to get out. So I got this thing. I go up to these guys in Papa Roach. I'm talking. Hey, can I talk to you about this event? Sure, dude. And then I got one of the greatest answers I've ever gotten to anything I've ever asked in any capacity in my entire life. So why are you doing this event? Is this a fun thing for you to do? What made you do this event? One guy goes, Jim Beam, dude. I can still hear it echoing in my head the way, Jim Beam, dude. So I talked to I got a couple quotes from those guys. Outside of Jim Beam, dude. I see the Harlem Globetrotters. I figure I'll go talk to those guys. I'm looking at their back. They're getting out of there as fast as possible. They've already changed out of the dumb Jim Beam jersey. They're just walking out. This isn't it, though. This is not where it ends. The people at Jim Beam created like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory endless day. Now we move to Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball, where the New York Liberty had just played earlier. And I've got to go there to watch the 4 contest winners. Now the guys in Papa Roach are gone. They hit the highway with the 10 grand they probably got to do this stupid thing or whatever they got, and all the Jim Beam they could drink. But now it's me and the 4 contest winners going to Madison Square Garden to be trained by Walt Clyde Frazier, New York Knicks legend, in basketball drills. And I had to sit there for a half hour watching these people who could barely dribble a basketball, trying to go between cones with Walt Frazier. This guy's a legend. Game 7, 1970 finals, Walt Frazier. Everybody talks about Willis Reed. Walt Frazier's the one who dropped all the points on. He's the one who won the game. Walt Frazier went bananas that game. All the points, assists, rebounds. He won it. This guy's got to stand there and watch these dummies trying to dribble a basketball through cones. He's trying to teach him how to do defense. Move from left to right. Shuffle your feet. Stay in front of your defense. These people want to go home. They're like, well, what did I win? A contest, or am I in some sort of some sort of fitness camp? Now all of a sudden. Then I have to talk to Walt Clyde Frazier about this event. And he, thankfully, was a complete gentleman and pretended to be interested in this event when he was interested in the $15,000 they probably gave him to spend his afternoon at Madison Square Garden. And then I got to go. I was on the floor. I got to go on the floor of the garden, and I got to shoot baskets while waiting for this day to end. Oh, Papa Roach. Where are they now? Where are the guys from Papa Roach now? So do you think, Mike, if Ringo Starr died, the other three would do shows? We miss you, buddy. They put his face up on the screen, as they did with a little help from my friends. Be like, we miss you, Ringo. Then all of a sudden, hey, Jude. Ringo who? Like everybody just forgets as the next Beatles hit starts playing.